Welcome back to part 4 of the MAME pre-configuration project. And with this project, I'm going through MAME platform by platform and setting all of these controls properly and providing button layout images for every single game. I'm also making sure that every single unlock for these games has been unlocked, and I'm also finding out which versions of these ROMs are best to use. Now, if you're new to this project, I suggest starting with the first video in this series as it goes into a bit more detail. And if you're all up to date, you're probably sick of hearing this. So let's just get straight into it with the Sega System 32. There are 23 games for the System 32. This isn't actually a game, and Surike Kukology 1 and 2 are actually Japanese quiz games. So these have not been included with this configuration because I don't speak Japanese. So that leaves us with 21 playable games. Now, the main thing to note about this platform is that these titles here were known as multi-System 32 games. Now, these games came in a 2-player single cabinet, but with 2 displays, one for each player. MAME does emulate this by having 2 screens side by side, and this is great for 2 players, but it would be nice for 1 player to just display one of these screens, which you can do. So if we go into the video options, go into screen 0, and then we can set screen 0 standard 4:3, and it displays one screen. So this is an excellent feature, but I personally don't want to have to faff about in this menu every time I want to play 1 player or a 2-player game, but there is a nice and easy workaround. So what I've done for these games is configured the parent version as the 1-screen 1-player version, and then one of the English speaking clones as the 2-player 2-screen version. And in my Launchbox build, I'll integrate both of these and label them 1-player and 2-player accordingly. So this is another platform where sticking to a 1 game, 1 ROM basis is actually doing yourself a disservice. And don't forget, you can check which versions I've configured for over on the Launchbox forums, and I'll pop a link for that in the description below. Setting controls for this board was pretty straightforward, unlike the horrors of the Sega System 16 board. Now, the light gun games, Alien 3 and Jurassic Park, have been set up to be able to be used with 2 controllers or 2 mice, or any combination of the 2. Sega Sonic was the only game that gave me any kind of issue, and I could go into details, but the long and short of it is that the analog sensitivity needed increasing to make Sonic go faster. And with Title Fight, I've actually enhanced the controls. Normally, to duck left or right, you'd need to press both joysticks left or right. But thanks to some clever configuring, I've set this to be left trigger or right trigger, making this game so much easier to play. As for other unlocks and enhancements, Golden Axe by default only allows for 2 players, but you can change this to 4 players in the test menu, and it's really annoying when that happens because why wouldn't you want to play this with 4 players? And Sega Sonic does the same, only allows for 2 players, but 3 players can be set in its test menu, and that of course has been done. I've also set the game time for Super Visual Soccer to 5 minutes per half. 2 minutes per half was a little bit short. And I've also done the same for Title Fight. 1.5 minutes was the default, and I've increased it to 3. So those configuration files are available over on the Launchbox forums and up on GitHub, and I'll pop links for these in the description below. There we go, that just about does it for System 32. On to the next, which is going to be more Sega stuff. So if you want to keep up to date with that, you know what to do. And if you liked today's video, slam me a thumbs up. And apart from that, go play some games. Adios.